Well, this is a turn up for the books. Looks like I've brought the UK weather with me. That's the kind of luck or bad luck I have sometimes. So what I normally had on the motorbike, last time dropping down to from Bilbao to the south of Spain, I had this for 3.5 hours. So you can see the pain when you're a motorcyclist, having to deal with wind, rain and buffeting. But yeah, this storm, I was stuck in it before whilst I was loading. I got absolutely soaked. I actually thought it was a great floods. I was waiting for Noah's Ark to make an apparition in the skies. It was that bad. Got absolutely soaked. Hence I've got my shorts on. I've had to put my kecks, my t-shirt on a night heater before to dry it. My Air Max are soaked, but at least I'm dry in the truck. And I was speaking to the guys down where I loaded before. They said it's usually dry anyway down in Murcia, but they've got, sometimes they do have a few seasonal storms. And of course, when I'm down here, the storm just wants to follow me. Right, cars, you're taking too long to overtake. I'm pulling out, clowns. This is what I was on about before, where cars taking so long to overtake. There's no need for it. I have to stop off in and around Albacete to get some diesel to fill up before I make my way up towards Bilbao. And then park up, take 9 hours rest, and then make the ferry tomorrow night. So it should hopefully leave me with about an hour of driving to do tomorrow to get to Bilbao. One thing you see in Europe which is different to the UK, when you're overtaking another wagon in the UK, you normally see a lot of trucks flashing people in. And you're wondering why they're doing so. It's just basically due to the length of the trailers. You don't want to just indicate cut across if you've not cleared the other guy's cab. So just a bit common courtesy, you flash them in, especially at night time when it's very, very hard to judge. So you normally get the other driver behind you, he'll flash you to let you know you've cleared his cab, safe for you to pull in. So that's what that entails. But in Europe, when you normally flash someone, it doesn't mean the same thing. It means, oh, you get a move on, or don't pull out if I'm overtaken. You just let him know you're there. So it's got different connotations in different parts of the world. Like with a motorcycling, where in the UK, if you see another motorcyclist, what you normally do is you get a little nod of the head to acknowledge there's another motorcyclist on the road. But in Spain, it's different. You normally go like this. You see the riders are coming next to you, they go like that to you. It's similar in America, same kind of thing. And I think it means keep it 2 wheels down, which would make sense. And now there's no overtaking, but I need to overtake. I can't be stuck. I just hope there's no policia here. Now this is the advantage of having a V8. Even with fully loaded here at the moment, I've got broccoli and cabbages. When you've got the V8, it does help you overtake going up the hills. And it can save you a bit of time, because if you're stuck behind some people you can't overtake them, you can actually lose you a bit of time. So now I need to get past this fella, get me a bit of a roll going down a hill, because this guy's just literally not liking the fact I'm overtaking him. And again, common courtesy, if someone's faster than you, knock it down. Whether half a kilometre an hour, a kilometre an hour, let them get past, go about your way. Now this guy AC, he's done it. Nice of you, mate, thank you very much. This is what I was on about before, where you'd let somebody go. Seeing his flash me in. And this is just a common trucking courtesy. And he was a perfect example, just as I said it as well. This is a retarder. Saves you using your brakes, so stop you getting a lot of brake fade. And if you try to hit your cruise control with a retarder, or there's a policia, please, traffico, keep going please sir, thank you very much. Whew, heart in the mouth for a second. Lord have mercy. Which is why we always respect the laws of the country we're in. Which is easier said than done, especially on a motorbike. So for anybody who doesn't drive a truck, we've got the tachograph there, which is above my head. 3 hours and 22, that's how much time I've got left on this current journey. You can drive for 4.5 hours, then you take a 45-minute break, that will reset your tachograph clock, and then you're good to go again for another 4.5 hours. So if you look down here, 37 hours and 24, that's how much time I've got left for the week. Above that, there's 8 hours and 5. I've got 8 hours and 5 left of driving for the day. And 3 hours and 21, that's how much I've got left on this current session of driving before I need to stop for a break. So I'm going to stop afterwards to get some diesel. Maybe in around Albacete or maybe Madrid, depending how far up I get. Which is the easiest place to get diesel, I should say. And then take my break and carry on up the road. There's another one of those road trains. And then get as far up the road as I can. And then have my 9 hours break, which will reset my clock for tomorrow. And hopefully I should only be around an hour away from the port of Bilbao to make the ferry. So on the truck here, on the Scanias, I'll show you what all these buttons do. This is your cruise control, your speed, set at 56. This is your hill hold control, so at the moment it says 56 and 61. So basically it's 56 miles an hour, and then 60, I've knocked it down there, so that'll hold at 60 miles an hour going down the hill.
Continue on A30 for 104 kilometers.
And here you scroll across all the different, you've got all the different gauges, your battery, your brake pressures, oil pressure, fuel levels, attention level, which is quite good. If you're falling asleep, it'll kind of beep. It'll let you know if you're falling asleep or if you're nodding off. One of these little things, which is quite handy. So your fuel consumption, how many litres per 100 kilometres. This one here again, driving times, when I need to stop for a break. Your cruise control, your following distances. You've got your diff locks, again because this is a 6x2. You can see your first one's your steering axle, your second one is your drive, the third one, obviously when you're empty, that just lifts off. So that's your lift axle. So essentially this is a 4x2. When you're empty you can lift the axle, and it makes it a lot more manoeuvrable to steer, to reverse. When you're fully laden, the rear axle just drops back down again. Your level adjustments, and it tells you there your weight on your axles and your gross train weight in tons. Currently about 35, almost 30, well 35, 36 tons roughly. Here is your media. I've not put the telephone on yet. These are your different settings. This is your volume control for your media, your source buttons. And then here at night time you put your ambient lighting on, which is quite handy. If it's pitch black in the cab you do tend to fall asleep, so you've got the ambient lighting on. It's quite red, it looks like you're in Amsterdam. If anybody knows a reference you'll get what I mean. So yeah, if you're having the red light on, it does tend to keep you awake a bit more. And this box here, DKV, this is for the tolls. So basically you just plug it in whenever you're overseas. If there's any tolls that need to be paid, as long as you can use DKV, that box does it automatically for you. So you're not having to mess around. Like in years gone by, you used to get some like float money, used to get a little envelope with so many euros, or yeah, so many euros to pay for the tolls, or you used to get a DKV card, a physical card. But now the toll box, so much easier. But enjoy the views. So tonight we're going to be heading up the middle of Spain, heading up towards Albacete, up towards Madrid, Burgos, probably get close to Burgos tonight I'd say, or just a little bit north of Burgos, and then tomorrow run into the port of Bilbao, where I came off on the KTM about 3-4 weeks ago. And another tip for truck drivers, car drivers, van drivers, motorcyclists: please don't drive like this with your arms stiff. For one, you look ridiculous, or the 10-2 like this, there's no need for it. Over long distances you're going to give yourself muscle ache. If you hit a pothole, if your arms are that stiff, you might end up breaking your arm, or you give yourself a bit of an injury. On a motorcycle, you don't want to be stiff arm on a bike either, because basically the motorcycle, if you hit a pothole or you've got anything you're hitting, you need to let the motorbike correct itself, and it will self-correct. You just grip with your legs, so grip the tank with your thighs, keep your arms nice and loose on a motorbike. So if you do hit, if you get a tank slapper when the bike's shaking, if your arms are that stiff, you're going to prevent the bike from trying to correct itself. So if you just go with the flow, let the bike correct itself, grip, so this is a tank, grip with your thighs, let the bike correct itself, keep loose. Trust me, you'll be a lot less fatigued, a lot less risk of injury. And when you're driving, even with a truck, literally you only need your thumb and your finger. You don't need to be like this the whole way, fighting for dear life as if you're trying to ride a bull or something is trying to kill you. Just literally nice and easy, your traps, your shoulders nice and relaxed. And believe me, when you do as many miles as you do, the more relaxed you are, the better. And also try and get exercise, so when you do stop, make sure you're doing your walking around, you're stretching, your exercising, because unfortunately as a truck driver you do put on weight quite easily, myself included, you know. And when I first started 10 years ago, I used to look at some drivers and thinking, how in the actual hell have you got that big? Now I actually sympathise and I empathise with a lot of the drivers, because obviously when you're new you don't have a clue what it entails to be a truck driver. You sat down a lot of the times throughout the day. Believe it or not, you're constantly munching on, you know, you're snacking on, God knows, you could be eating crisps, fruit. I tend to try to eat a lot of fruit when I can, but then again, you've got to mitigate the fact if you eat too much fruit, you can give yourself a dodgy stomach. And believe me, there's nothing worse. As a long distance truck driver, you don't want to be having any kind of diarrhea or stomach problems. Try to drink a lot of water if you can, but due to the nature of the job, where sometimes you're driving days, nights, days, where your body clock is out of sync, you'll find yourself drinking a lot of caffeine, whether it's Red Bulls, energy drinks, Coca-Colas, Fantas. Yeah, and people say, oh, you shouldn't be drinking all that, but until you've been in a truck driver's shoes, again, if you're a tramper, what I am, which is basically you live in your truck, you know, a week at a time. Like this run here basically be like a 2 weeks I've been in the truck, from the UK down through France into Spain, had a break in Spain, loaded, back up on a ferry, back up, you know, then you could be gone, you know, for weeks at a time. So you've got to look after your health, but it's not always easy. So sympathise with some truck drivers, not everybody, don't get me wrong. You know, I do see a lot of drivers, well, not a lot, I do see some, you know, sometimes you see people parking up after the end of a shift. If you've got 9 hours off, they're out drinking booze, this and that. You know, I can't do it. I used to be able to drink in my younger years. Unfortunately, I'm not that old, bloody 45, don't get me wrong, but you know, it's not conducive for the lifestyle as a truck driver. If you're going out drinking, you know, eating fatty foods, not getting exercise, your health is going to suffer. It's going to affect your family life, your relationships. You know, and sadly, my relationship ended not due to overeating or drinking. It's just with long distance driving, you know, things happen, and it is what it is. So, you know, that's the risk you got to take if you want to be a long haul, over the road tramper driver. You know, if you've got a stable relationship, fair enough, but I would say it is more of a young man's game, a young woman's game. If you're single, if you like doing international work, that's some of the pitfalls of truck driving for you. You'll get to see a lot of lovely sights, meet some good people along the way, but just be prepared that if you're not married, or even if you are married, things can happen and it can cause the dissolution of your relationships. So yeah, you know, I've done all kinds of truck driving. I've done curtain siders, tankers, milk tankers, not any fuels or acids, nothing like that. I've done milk, done curtain siders, box trailers, dry boxes, fridges that I'm running now, containers, double deckers. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few other bits and pieces, but in terms of the experience side of things, I would say if you're a new driver starting off, if you can get in with an agency, you know, a lot of people slag off agency drivers, but you know, nobody was born with a steering wheel in your hands. You know, you need to get experience, and it's very rare, but you will get some places that will give experience to brand new drivers. So it's a bit of a catch-22. So what do you do as a new driver? So again, if you're fortunate enough to find a company that will give you the experience, I'd say take it, get the experience, learn the ropes. You know, I'm 10 years into driving now. I've done a lot of European, I've done motorsports with motorbikes, overseas with Ducati, with Philip Morris. So I've done a lot of that. You know, I've enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. That's what brought about the dissolution of my relationship. So if you want to do into motorsports, make sure you're single or you've got a good, strong relationship behind you. But yeah, so if you are a new driver, get on the agency. You'll get a lot of variety. You know, people slag off agency drivers. You know, unfortunately, again, I've driven and I had my first accident this January, believe it or not. I've driven all over Europe, throughout the UK, load of left-hand drives, right-hand drives, and the first bloody accident I have, which wasn't even my fault, just due to a bit of a dodgy road surface, which was down in Canterbury in Kent, which I was absolutely fuming about. And that's the first ever accident I've ever had in a truck, in a car, on a motorbike. That wasn't my fault. You know, and the whole thing we were disputing it with a local council, because believe it or not, where I had a crash in my wagon, I was only doing 20 miles an hour, and that was literally on a bend where there was an accident in the same exact place within 20 or 30 feet a week prior. So it's a bit of a coincidence, don't you think? But so yeah, so I'm telling you guys, as a driver, you know, I've had an accident, you know, and if other drivers say they've never had an accident in their life, they're very, very lucky. Or they're a super trucker, or they're lying. I can guarantee you a lot of drivers, you know, have had accidents, me included. So, you know, just trying to give you a bit of a heads up. The joys of trucking, the pitfalls of trucking, and how to keep yourself safe as a motorcyclist from a truck driver's perspective.